Hello, good afternoon everyone. So the topic that I will be discussing is all about the grand tour of Dr. Jose Rizal in Europe with Dr. Maximo Viola. Before we proceed to the discussion, the objectives of this presentation is for you to know where the tour started, to know those places in Europe that Rizal and Viola had visited, to know who are those people that Rizal and Viola met during the tour, and to know where is the last place that Rizal and Viola had visited. So to start, after the publication of the No Limitang Hire, Dr. Jose Rizal planned to visit the important places in Europe, and Dr. Maximo Viola agreed to be his traveling companion. And before that, Rizal received a remittance of 1,000 pesos from his older brother Pasiano, which forwarded by Juan Luna from Paris, and immediately paid his debt to Viola, which is amounting 300 pesos, which he loaned so that the No Limitang Here could be printed. And the first stop that Jose Rizal and Viola had visited is the Potsdam. It is the city near Berlin. So this is the image of the Potsdam in Germany, which Dr. Jose Rizal and Dr. Maximo Viola had visited first in their travel in Europe. So from there, the tour began. And at the dawn of May 11, 1887, Dr. Jose Rizal and Dr. Maximo Viola, the two brown-skinned doctors on a roaming spree, they left Berlin by a train. And during that time, it was spring season, and spring was an ideal season for traveling. And their destination that time was in Dresden. It is one of the best cities in Germany. So Dr. Jose Rizal and Dr. Maximo Viola tarried for some times in Dresden, and they visited Dr. Adolf B. Meyer, who was overjoyed to see them. Itong si Dr. Adolf Meyer is a director of the Zoological and Anthropological and Ethnological Museum in Dresden. And then in the Museum of Art, Rizal was deeply impressed by a painting of Prometheus Bound, this one in the picture. And then they also met Dr. Jagor and heard their plan about Leitmeritz in order to see BLUMENTRITT, and he advised to wear BLUMENTRITT because the old professor might be shocked of their visit. Itong si Dr. Jagor is the author of Travels in the Philippines. It is a book that Rizal admired because of its keen observances in the Philippine settings. So during the first meeting with BLUMENTRITT, it was 1:30 p.m. of that time, May 15, 1887, and the train arrived at the railroad station of Leitmeritz. And then Professor BLUMENTRITT was at the station carrying a pencil sketch of Dr. Jose Rizal, which he sent to identify his friend. And then BLUMENTRITT get a room at a Hotel Krebs, after which he brought them to his house and stayed at Leitmeritz. So during their stay at the Leitmeritz, they enjoyed the hospitality of the BLUMENTRITT family. So the professor's wife, which is Rosa, was a good cook. She prepared Austrian dishes, which Rizal liked very much. And then BLUMENTRITT also proved to be a great tourist as well as hospitable host. He showed the scenic and historical spots of Leitmeritz to his visitors. And the burgomaster, or the town mayor, was also amazed by the Rizal's privileged talent. So the next city they had is the historic city of Prague. They carried letters of recommendation from Ferdinand BLUMENTRITT to Dr. Wilcom, who is a professor in University of Prague. And Rizal and Viola visited also the tomb of Copernicus. So this is the Museum of Nicholas Copernicus in Europe. After their visit to Prague, they headed to Vienna. And May 20, 1887, they arrived at the Vienna, capital of Austria-Hungary, and then they met Norfenfels, one of the greatest novelists that time, and then they stayed at the Hotel Metropole Also, they also meet the two good friends of BLUMENTRITT, which is Massner and Nordmann, which are also Austrian scholars. So this is the Hotel Metropole where Dr. Jose Rizal and Dr. Maximo Viola stayed during their visit in Vienna. So on May 24, 1887, Rizal and Viola left Vienna on a river boat going to Lintz to see beautiful sights of the Danube River. And as they traveled along the famous river, Dr. Jose Rizal observed keenly the river sights. And then the river voyage ended in Linz. So they traveled overland to Salzburg and from there to Munich, where the sojourned for a short time to savor the famous Munich beer. And after that, they crossed the frontier to Switzerland and they stayed from June 2 to 3, 1887 and then continued to tour Basel, Bern, and Lausanne. And then after their tour at Lausanne, they headed to Geneva by a little boat crossing the foggy Leman Lake. And on June 19, 1887, that was the 26th birthday of Rizal. So Rizal treated Dr. Maximo Viola to a blowout, and then Rizal and Viola spent 15 days in Geneva. And then on June 23rd, they parted ways, and Viola decided to return to Barcelona while Rizal continued his tour to Italy. But that time, Rizal received sad news from his friends in Madrid of the deplorable conditions of the primitive Igorots who were exhibited in the exposition, and some of these Igorots died. Rizal was outraged by the degradation of his fellow countrymen. But Rizal continued his tour in Italy. So he visited Turin, Milan, Venice, and Florence, Italy. And on June 27, 1887, he reached Rome. He was thrilled by the sights and memories of the Eternal City. And on June 29, Rizal visited for the first time the Vatican, or the city of the popes, and the capital of Christendom. And after a week of staying in Rome, he prepared to return to the Philippines, and he had already written to his father that he was coming home. So that is all for my presentation. Thank you.